What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another Panel B podcast. As you can see, a little short-handed here. Got Steve Buchanan to my right, usually to my left. You guys get to see this side of my face now for the first time.
Awesome. Looks great.
Okay. All right. You know, the beard only grows well on one side. Anyways, Julian Edlow not with us as he is on baby watch.
Right.
More on that later, though. A great stack you're going to have to read, look into. Got two dads here.
Hello.
Ready to dispense some advice here for young Julian Edlow. We don't have his picks either. We'll make them for him.
Yeah, we'll do it for him.
We'll do good ones. We'll also give you our picks, of course, for the upcoming week. Talk about the Thursday night game from both the betting and DFS perspective. I guess we're probably not talking any basketball today.
I mean, couple guys. Carmelo made his debut last night. That was interesting.
That's right.
His shot would look terrible. He was 4 for 14 from the field.
He made that wide open three, though.
He did. 2 for 3 from 3-point range. So looking okay. You know, it's his first game in over a year. Can't expect too much from him, but the man made his return.
If you choose to wear 00, you're basically giving up already, aren't you?
Just dare to be different. That's what I learned from Dare.
Yeah. I mean, like, if your ceiling is Greg Ostertag, I don't think, you really got a lot going for you. That's like, the fourth preseason game where you see the wide receiver number 6 or like a linebacker wearing like 42 or I don't know,
It's a good story though.
He deserved to be on a team.
Yeah,
let's give him that.
Like, does he deserve to be starting like he's asking for? Maybe not.
Well, the Blazers had lost like 7 of their 9 last 9, I think it was.
Yeah.
They're on a tail end of a back-to-back. Dame was ruled out, and they're just like, why not? Like,
right.
go out, do your thing. We'll come back and try again.
And then Little, who's been in the starting rotation, who we bumped, looked good off the bench.
Sure.
So a little different dynamic there, but
Lil Nas X, yeah.
Yep.
That is good to see. Wow, look at you.
Well, that was it. That's all I got. That's the end of the basketball talk.
Real quick at NBA, though, I mean, you got Trae Young and Luka Doncic both playing again tonight, two guys who, forever will be linked, and both guys just playing at such a high level. It's kind of cool to see. But, yeah, no, we'll primarily focus on NFL. We got a lot to talk about.
Yes,
we'll also, like I said, we'll dispense some fatherly advice for the young buck who will be hopefully with child soon, which is we're really excited for, obviously, because he's had it easy. He's had it easy in his life, and he's about to
turn upside down.
He's about to learn what it's like. Before we get to that, though, let's start with the Thursday night game then.
Yes.
We have the Colts at the Texans. The Colts are 3.5-point underdogs on the road. 45.5 is the over-under. Colts on the money line, plus 163. Texans are minus 200. We'll have to see how healthy the Colts are here. We know Mac is going to be out.
Yep.
So you would expect Jonathan Williams to take over as the lead back. Wilkins might play, might not play, but Hines is there as well. The big one, obviously, though, is T.Y. Hilton. T.Y. Hilton, of course, the unquestioned best weapon on this Colts team, and unquestionably his best opponent historically is the Texans. The guy eats whenever he plays the Houston Texans. So they really need him back for this game. But still, you're talking about a Frank Reich team, a Jacoby Brissett team that doesn't get blown out a lot. Spread here, -3. Houston coming off a tough loss.
Very tough loss.
To Baltimore, where they really were never in it. Whether or not you want to say the London game had any effect, even if there is the bye in between, historically that seems to be the case with London teams. But they got shellacked by a good team, too, on the road, and that could be as simple as that. So how do you look at this game? How do you first approach this game?
So the tough thing is a lot of injury questions like you brought up.
Right.
Like, that's going to make a big difference. We're not talking about a wide receiver 2, a wide receiver 3. It's T.Y. Hilton, obviously. Losing Marlon Mack is a big blow. Jonathan Williams did very good once he came in after Mack hurt his hand, but it was pretty disappointing because Mack was finally having a good game for once. Like, he's been, I'd say, a pretty massive disappointment this season for somebody who has such a good offensive line in front of him.
I mean, he's top 5 in rushing yards in the league.
I guess from a DraftKings perspective, he's been a pretty big disappointment. So let's make that clear.
Yeah.
The spread is perfect.
Yeah.
Because I don't feel either way right now because you don't know who's playing. And the other thing is, too, is that I know that Watson has been practicing in full with the ankle injury, but that's still going to be somewhat of a concern too. Like I kind of look at it with Patrick Mahomes. Like he was practicing in full, but the ankle injury was clearly still bothering him before he went down with that injury. So this is like one of those games where I don't feel like you would need to bet it early. You almost want to bet it late, just because lines are going to change between now and the next 24 hours once they start getting more of a status on who's in this game, who's not. But my lean right now is probably the Colts.
Yeah.
At plus 3.5, I feel like that's some pretty good value there against a Texas team who, like you said, is coming off a really bad loss. They looked horrible in that game. Watson did not look good. It was by far the worst game he's probably had in the NFL thus far. So plus 3.5 for the Colts, 163 on the money line. Kind of liking that.
Yeah, Eric Ebron also is a little bit banged up, so we'll have to see what he does there. And to get back to Mac real quick, like they want him, he controls the clock, right? So, they haven't. They're just always in close games. Like, so he's never had the chance to be like, all right, we need to ice this thing, let's go. And it was starting to get like that. They jumped out to that early lead against Jacksonville. He was eating and then broke his hand. The thing that worries me a little bit, or I guess I don't want to overreact too much to the Baltimore game, only because that secondary, the Baltimore secondary, adding Marcus Peters, it's kind of interesting. Like, I think a lot of people have thought he's been pretty overrated. Like, he's a very boomer bust corner. But he's playing well in that system, and they have 3 really good cornerbacks now, and Earl Thomas as well, obviously, at safety. So that secondary, I'm not sure, certainly the Colts don't boast that type of weaponry in the back end, but to me it is T.Y. Hilton. Really would change. Let's put it this way. I like the Colts plus 3.5 now. I like the Colts money line if T.Y. Hilton's playing.
Yeah,
I think it's probably the way that I look at that. And you're going to have to obviously either take a leap of faith early or just take, a couple practice reports if we get them, then they look encouraging, go on it early, because obviously I do think he's not going to all of a sudden make the Colts favorites or anything, but I do think he affects half a point, maybe, potentially even more.
And this kind of goes back to last week with the Cowboys and the Lions. Like we talked about how I liked it at minus 4.5, I think it was, when we didn't know if Stafford was going to be out, and then once he was ruled out, jumped to 7.
Right.
Like T.Y. Hilton's not going to make that much of a difference, but it's going to be a difference. So if you're liking that already, that's definitely something to jump on too. Then you also look at how this offense has gone with and without T.Y. Hilton. Yards per pass attempt really doesn't change too much. 7 with him in, only 6.8 without. Like, it's actually run quite efficient even without Hilton. By far you want him in the lineup. Like, you don't say not, but Brissett's done a really good job with this offense even without him in, with guys like Chester Rogers, Zach Pascal, Jack Doyle. So he makes a difference, but the loss hasn't been felt as much as I think we all expected, because when a guy of Hilton's caliber goes down, sound the alarms. This is not going to go well. It's been fine.
Yeah.
It really has.
Yeah, and real quick, just because I did allude to it, and I want to at least put the numbers out there. Granted, a lot of these did come with Andrew Luck as the quarterback, something you have to take into consideration. But Hilton's numbers when he is at Houston, so these are the road game he plays every year at Houston, starting from 2012 going to 2017. 378-1, 7-121-3, 9-223-1, 5-88-0, 3-49-0, 5-175-2. So, just some incredible numbers for T.Y. Hilton when he is in Houston. I want to touch on DraftKings, showdown strategy. I get, again, that it's difficult right now, just given the fact that these guys, so many guys are hurt, so many guys that are key are hurt. But let's start, when you're building out this game script, where do you kind of lean, or where does it lead you to when you're talking about your captain's pick?
Yeah, so one of the things I like to do is, it's easy to roster guys like Watson or Hopkins because they're the obvious names. But in doing so, you're absolutely crippling the rest of your lineup. Like you put Watson in the captain spot, for example, you're left with 6,500 just about for the rest of your lineup. That's not very friendly.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm always trying to one of those boomer bust guys. Like we talked about it for Monday's game with Austin Eckler.
Right.
He had a big game, and that was a good spot for him at the captain spot. So now in something like this, do you want to maybe go with someone like Will Fuller if he's active? That's somebody who would be that prolific boomer bust guy.
Right.
huge amount of air yards. And if you put him in the captain spot, he's only 11,700.
Yeah.
That leaves you about 7,600 for the rest of your lineup. That's a lot more friendly to do it out with. You're probably going to have to take somebody you don't want to, like a kicker or a defense to kind of even that out. I'd probably lean on the Colts just because of how poor the Texans' offensive line is.
Defense in Showdown has been
very profitable.
Been great.
It really has.
Like at least one, if not two, primetime games every year. Every week, there's been a DST that's gone off.
Absolutely. And then someone like the Colts with a strong offensive line, the amount of sacks that Watson takes.
Yeah.
So Fuller, the captain spot, Colts defense. Now we're looking at 8,700 for the rest of your lineup. That's very flexible to take.
Yeah, and I mean, Kenny Stills isn't playable, I think, if Fuller plays, but if Fuller sits, I think Kenny Stills is another guy. He's a little cheaper. And then Nyheim Hines is 62 as a flex, and he's a guy who you're not pairing him with Colts DST unless you're really just praying for a touchdown, but he's a guy, if Houston comes out firing and puts up points, I mean, they were likely to lean on him anyways if Marlon Mack was healthy, but now he's definitely the guy that the Colts are going to look to help kind of move the chains throughout the game.
And one other thing, too, if you're looking for somebody who wants to maybe get a touchdown, if T.Y. Hilton is out, Jack Doyle, I think, is someone that you could look to, too, as well. Brissett has gone to his tight ends much more since Hilton has been out. Obviously, looking at the receivers, Zach Pascal, Chester Rogers, not a lot of names that you're like, I'm going to trust my passes going to this guy. Ebron and Doyle have been very busy since Hilton's been out, so if he continues to be out, Doyle, Ebron would probably be the guys you can look to as well on the much cheaper side for a captain.
Yeah, and a reminder, of course, Ebron did miss practice yesterday with an ankle injury. So
even more so.
In a short turnaround, it's not looking good for Ebron's status there. We expect Marlon Mack is out.
Yep.
We have to see about Jonathan Williams. I think he's probably, Jordan Wilkins, but Williams is the guy we expect there. And then we'll see about Will Fuller. I mean, it's a hamstring with a guy who runs a lot, a guy who's been hurt pretty much his entire career. So, I mean, you can more or less project he won't play now, but he's always going to be a GPP guy, in or out, just because he racks up those air yards.
In season-long leads, he's great for the IR spot. On your roster. Yep.
Yeah.
He's wonderful for that.
Yep. And then, I mean, he's the perfect, best ball guy, right? By
far.
Because he'll go off for that one, and he did already this year, so now it's like, all right, don't have to worry about him again.
That's all we needed.
You got the 1 week out of him, and that's that. Let's get to our picks, though.
All right.
Let's go.
Well, do you want to do Julian's first?
Sure, let's pick some for Julian. Okay. So first off, for Julian, of course, as is tradition, we have to pick a heavy favorites money line parlay. Yep. So we got Browns minus 10.5, so that's minus 530.
Gotta put that in.
You gotta, the Browns, come on, they're not losing to the Dolphins.
Hold on. I gotta look up some numbers.
I don't know, man. That Julian voice we need a little work on that. So add in the Saints.
Everybody's the same. When I'm mocking somebody, it's all the same. They all have the same voice.
All right, so we got two legs here. We've got Browns and we've got Saints. Do we want to do a third? We'd have to do a third.
Well, we have to do 6 more.
225.
We have to do 6 more.
Well, there's just not a lot of heavy favorites this week.
Oh, well, Patriots 295. Oh, the home guy. Gotta lock him in. Okay, he's in.
I mean, those are the next biggest favorite. I don't like that, though. I would not take the Patriots there. You could take the Falcons.
Well, see, here's the best thing.
Yeah.
He's not here to defend himself,
That's
so too bad.
Okay,
so
all
the
right.
Patriots are in.
All right, Patriots are in. That gets you to minus 106.
Wait. Okay, here's an idea. Let's sabotage this. Let's put a huge underdog in there.
No, the beauty of this is you don't have to sabotage it because in and of itself, it will crumble. So...
Per the usual.
Browns, Saints, Patriots. There you go. We won't make another pick for them.
Well, guess what? Amazing. This gets you to minus 106.
Minus 106.
What value?
What free money? All right.
Stupid.
Yeah. Take that, Julian. All right.
So make sure you write that down. That's his pick. We got it. Lock it in.
Producer Matt's got it down. Who do you like?
So one of the ones I was looking at right away, and I was shocked by this, is that the Giants are 6.5 underdogs against the Bears.
Yeah.
That one just seems way
But the Bears
too high.
are finally starting the good quarterback, Chase Daniel.
Is that official?
No, it's not official.
Okay.
Because they're inventing a hip injury for Trubisky, so I think that means they want to start Chase Daniel.
I do agree, but 6.5 as of right now, with the consensus that I would believe that Mr. Trubisky is still in, way too high.
It is high.
So for me, again, this is one of those things that just take this now before the actual news comes out and get some value here at 6.5. So the Giants at plus 6.5. That's my first
Here's
one
what
there.
scares me about that.
Okay.
I do think it's too high when you're talking about when you're looking on the two matchups on paper. Like the offenses in and of themselves, yes. What scares the crap out of me, though, is Daniel Jones just dropping the football 5 times a game.
Yep.
And this Bears defense.
Nope.
And on top of that, like they're not going to be able to pass. Like the Bears secondary is very good, and I'm still not convinced Saquon's healthy. So,
and that's fair. I do understand that, but you mentioned how good the secondary has been. They haven't been too good as of late.
Okay.
You look at the last couple of weeks against the Rams. Even for as bad as it was, they still gave 117 yards, which is pretty surprising when you think of how bad that was. The week before against the Lions, 163.
To wide receivers.
Yes, this is to wide receivers. The Eagles game wasn't that great, 62. But then Saints, Raiders the weeks before, 179, 122. Like, they've been getting passed on lately, so they're not as good as we expected them to be. Like, they still have a very good pass rush. Like, there's no doubt about that. But the secondary itself, I think, has been beatable.
If you got the horses for it. And we'll see. Sterling Shepard might play. Or at least he practiced in full. And I only say might because obviously with concussions, he's already had a flare-up again. So, you don't know. You're not going to get a lot of chunk plays from who your receivers are. And I agree. I don't think the Bears are going to be able to score a ton of points in this game. It's just, so are enough points going to be scored that 6.5 is feasible? We'll see. My worry is just a defensive touchdown totally flips it and makes it doable.
I mean, to be fair, I think that it is very viable, but I just like that one. I just thought that was way too high for the one. I'm telling you, man, I keep looking at the Falcons 4.5, and I know it's a trap. I'm like, I don't want to do it. I really don't want to do it.
Well, I'll tell you this, everyone's with you because it was 4, and now it's 4.5.
So I'm going to put that one to the side. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to go with the Lions.
Oh, here we go.
Lions minus 3.5 against the Redskins. Seems too low.
For Driscoll?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Driscoll has been very, very competent in the 2 weeks that he's been in there. Like, especially if you look at what he's done on DraftKings, like, he's put up some serious fantasy points.
He's running the ball,
He's running the ball. His passing is so-so, but, I'm not expecting, 70% completion rate from a backup. Both weeks he's just under 60% or so, but 2 touchdowns last week, a touchdown the week before, not really turning over the ball. Like, he should be able to do enough that the Lions can beat the Redskins by 4. I can't imagine this being a close game. I still don't understand how the Redskins were favored last week against the Jets.
Yeah.
Now they're very close to the Lions. Like, what are we doing here? What team is everybody watching that I'm not seeing?
Yeah. It's just, I think this one comes down to the fact both teams are just going to want to run the ball mostly. And the Lions are pretty banged up, obviously, but they finally said, okay, we're going to stop trying to make one running back happen. And you just throw random guys out there and you get the same production. That works. Because the Sportsbook Ops team here got us an email that has a good amount of stats and info here. I can help back up some of your picks. So right now, early bets and tickets heavily on the Lions. You got 98% of the handle, 95% of the bets are on the Lions here at minus 3.5. But little different when you talk about the Giants and the Bears. Now, the percentage of overall bets, tickets taken, is with you, 61% on the Giants here. But what you would consider sharp money, at least early on, percent of handle is on the Bears at minus 6.5, 59% there. So kind of interesting. We'll see. Maybe we'll have some reverse line movement there. We'll see how that'll go. But taking
come at me. Everybody put money on the other side. Let's go. S. Buchanan 24. I'll be here.
See, it's not exactly like DFS where you're worried about ownership. Like, you don't have to worry too much about that.
I'm worried.
Yeah. All right, my first one here. I'm going to go with the Jets plus 3
against the Raiders.
Against the Raiders. And here's the thing. The Raiders just don't – are the Raiders a better team? Are they a better coach team? Yes. Don't get me wrong. Sure. That is the case. But they don't blow anybody out.
No.
They win games.
They don't.
They do the right things. They win all of their games close. So 3, I would love 3.5. Yes, I would love 3.5, but I'll still take 3 here. underdogs at home for a Jets team that has a lot of issues. We were just joking.
Sure.
Le'Veon Bell, right before we recorded this, tweeted out he's refusing to take another HGH test from the league.
Refusal.
Sure, we'll see how that goes. Because if there's anything we know about the league, they're totally not going to test him again now. Just to try him.
They'll say, you know what? You're right. We're sorry for testing you so much. We'll leave you alone.
But, so there's a lot going on with the Jets. But I still think that's a very talented team. Or at least talented enough that at home this could be a spot where they look.
I would say if I was going to put money on this game, I'd actually put it on the over 46.5 because we're talking about two horrendous secondaries, two teams who like to throw the ball when they need to. Josh Jacobs should actually probably have some struggles in this game. The Jets' run defense is actually pretty good. Like, it's not one that you go out of your way to avoid playing against,
right?
But they're good enough that I would be like, I'm not sure if I want to throw Jacobs in a lineup for this week. But I do like the over a lot because I think this game will be close, meaning that both sides will have to throw. So 46.5 seems pretty low for two teams that, can beat each other on the secondary.
Big game from the tight ends out of both sides, I feel like. Ryan Griffin has really stepped up for the Jets. Darren Waller, obviously, for the Raiders. So now I am not with the public on this one. So with the Raiders, they're getting 70% of bets and 56% of the handle. Okay. Now for my second one, I wanted it to be a player prop, but player props aren't really available on DK Sportsbook this early on. And I was going to say we could even just name whatever the prop is and I would take it. But whatever Odell Beckham's prop is for yardage, I want the over. It could be set at 150 yards and I would take the over.
Stop it.
Going up against the Dolphins and their secondary. They've been trying to get Odell the ball for weeks now, and he's had really tough matchups.
Yeah,
he has the exact opposite of a tough matchup this week against the Dolphins, who are just throwing anybody out there.
Yep.
And John Brown went off last week. Could have had even more. I think Odell is going to absolutely smash this week. I'm not alone in that, so that usually doesn't end up working out well. But whenever his prop comes out, I would have liked that to be my second. It's not available, so I won't take it. But I'm again going kind of against the public here. I'm taking under 51.5 in the Buccaneers-Falcons game.
Oh.
It's the highest over-under on the slate at 51.5. I'm going under. The Falcons' defense now 2 weeks in a row. You did not believe them once. There's at least some explanation coming out of the bye why the defense looks good, and guess what? It's because Dan Quinn fired himself. He gave up play calling duties for the defense coming out of the bye, and for 2 weeks now the defense has looked really good.
That's confirmed?
That is what happened.
That explains it.
And you're talking about, Drew Brees and Kyle Allen, has fallen apart overall, but they made him look like what we expected him to look like at the very beginning.
Yep.
And now you go up against Jameis Winston, who you don't have to do much to make him look bad. He does that himself. So what scares me, of course, is what we've talked about when we take the over on Buccaneers games. He'll throw interceptions, which is great because it gives short fields. That could happen again. But I'm going to go the under here. I don't think either team really wants to run the ball. I get that. Neither team will be able to run the ball. And again, I am going against the public here right now. The under actually is getting the higher percentage of bets, 52%, but quote-unquote sharp money, 66% on the over.
Yep.
But
because this game opened at 53. So it's been bet down all the way to 51.5.
If only we recorded this earlier.
Huh?
I said if only we did this show earlier,
right.
I would look even smarter. But
it's see, now it's too low for me at 51.5. It is. Because
1.5 points, really.
Winston could legitimately give the Falcons 12, 14 points just from turnovers alone.
Yeah.
Like, gifting them.
Yeah.
It's almost Christmas season. Christmas comes early when you face Jameis Winston. Like, that's what I could never take the under on a Buccaneers game because of Winston alone.
Right.
What he does and what he's capable of doing.
He is kind of banged up. He's been
banged up his whole life
in that last game. Maybe they yank him at some point. We'll see. But yeah, you're gonna have Julio Jones catch an 80-yard bomb, get tackled at the 5. The Falcons won't be able to punch it in. They'll have to kick a field goal, and then the Buccaneers, they'll maybe march down the field and then throw another interception. I just hope he throws it on the plus side of the field, so it's a little tougher than for the Falcons.
So if I had to guess what Beckham's prop would be, I would think it'd be around 98. I think that would be the number he's about. Because Michael Thomas gets around 101, 102 on a weekly basis. Beckham's not even at that level in terms of yardage. So if I had a guess in this matchup, 98 will probably be the number.
In this matchup, yeah. I think just given the recent run, my guess was going to be like 89.5.
I would probably take the over in 89.5.
Yeah.
If it was like around 98 like I'm thinking, I would take the under. Because if you look at what the Dolphins have allowed in the past 4 weeks, this is yardage to wide receivers. 208, 155, 66, 196.
They're bad.
They're bad. They're bad. But for somebody like Beckham to have 50% of that, I don't know.
Well, I think all that needs to be said is, again, if you set it at 150.5, I would take the over. So I'm that confident that on the Odell train this week.
Okay, so spoiler alert, you are 1-1 on the week. And we'll talk about it on Monday. You're going to go 1-1.
Why is that?
I like your first one.
Okay, so that's the one I lose.
No. That's oh, you.
I would take another 1-1, to be honest. There was a rough go of it. I need to get back,
We told you this was going to happen. You were sitting all high and mighty. That's why you got demoted to this chair. That's the king's throne over to my right.
I got sent to the Julian chair.
Yeah.
Well, then what is it? Yeah, and then now we're just leaving that chair empty.
Now it's empty. There's no king anymore. That is to be continued.
Lawlessness.
Yeah.
It is complete anarchy on the Panel B podcast.
My wire's going crazy over here.
Oh, boy.
All right. There we go.
All right. Well, let's lean full into the craziness then, eh?
Yeah, let's do it. That's why we're here. That's why people listen.
That's true. Hi, Mom. All right. Time for our stack.
My mother doesn't listen.
This is... Yeah, she says she does. We'll see if...
Yeah. I always quiz her. She gets it wrong.
This is the stack we could only do if it was just me and you. And
That's right.
This is a Haley's Comet stack right here.
This would be the NBA talk. Like when I have to leave, this would be it for Julian. Like he has nothing to say. So this is a perfect opportunity for it.
And this is the perfect timing. Yes. Yep. So like we said, Julian is expecting a child imminently.
Yes.
Any moment.
Yes.
And we know it will be a boy.
Yes.
You have 2 boys?
I have 2 boys.
I have 1.
Yep.
So who better to lay out a stack? And this stack is, well, it was your idea, so why don't you describe what the stack is?
So basically, Julian has no unearthly idea what he's in store for. So we thought we would kind of go through the yearly progressions, or I don't know, what's the right term for that?
Sure, it's just the different buckets in which you are unprepared.
Buckets, perfect.
So the categories are baby.
Yes.
So when the child is a baby, here is what you are unprepared for.
Yes.
2 is toddler when they grow up. My son is 3, so I've experienced this now. The 3rd is boy. So just because he's a boy, here is what you are unprepared for. And then the 4th, as always, is flex.
Yes. So I will just put this forth. Mm-hmm. There's probably going to be a little, like bathroom talk involved here. So like it's going to sound a little bit immature.
Not locker room talk, but actual bathroom
right.
talk.
So it's going to sound a little bit immature, but you'll be entertained. Don't worry.
Okay. Start us off.
Okay. Baby.
Yes.
The thing that I learned fast.
Uh-huh.
When you're changing him, especially boys, watch where it's pointing.
Yes.
In my face. Day 3.
Oh, okay.
I thought gravity puts everything down. Nope. It was up. Right in my face.
Wow.
Like, welcome to being a dad.
Yeah.
Like, now I got to sanitize my face, wash my face. But he looks so fun. He's just happy to be here. Like,
right.
I'm here on the world, day 3, but he shot right up at me.
Yeah.
All in my face. So you always have to be aware. Mm-hmm. Like, where is it aimed?
Yes.
Because wherever it's aimed, it's going.
Yeah.
So you have to watch out for that.
Okay, that's a good one.
That is a good one. But I almost kind of wish I didn't give him that advice because I would like him to experience.
My son had one. We were watching. He was right after he was born. It was the Orioles. It was the Orioles Blue Jays wild card game, and he stayed up with me to watch it because he's literally maybe 2 weeks old. I go to change him in between one of the half innings that had gone to extra innings. Out the back end, similar, like flying. So clean it up, and then right after that, Edwin Encarnacion hits the walk-off home run.
Perfect.
Very similar arc, like same launch angle. So I always felt that was divine intervention. That to me is the first story that his girlfriend is getting the first time she comes home.
That's amazing. Okay. Was that yours? Part of your stack?
It is not, no. But producer Matt wants the stat cast on that. I don't have the exit velocity, but it was high. The exit velocity. Luckily, unlike Steven, I was not hit with it. It was clear across the other side of the room.
I'll tell you one thing. This was slow, but it was deadly when I got hit.
It had good lift.
Yep.
All right. That's one of those like Yankees right field homers. It's like a pop fly, but the wind pushed it.
The wind took that one. Just roped around the.
All right, let's go. Why don't we alternate here? Because there's only two of us. So I'll go. So my baby one. Look, you already know about you're not getting sleep.
Yes.
Right. To some degree, you already know it's going to be an absolute mess.
Right.
So like, I didn't want to put those in there.
Right.
Mine was like. And this is maybe a little bit too real talk, but like the never-ending worry. Like when you're holding the baby, when you're not holding the baby, like all of a sudden you're convinced you're dropping it, you're going to drop the baby, you're convinced, whenever anything is happening, like it is all-consuming.
Yeah.
So be prepared for that.
Oh, yeah. Like the worry that happens in your life once that baby is born never stops.
Yeah.
Never, ever stops.
The at my previous job before I came here, like right before my son was born, my boss got me a gift it's a baby monitor, but it tracks like movement on the mat. Like it's not a camera or anything, but it's just like it can sense its breathing.
My God.
Yeah, and before before I had the kid, we're like, wow, this is way too intense. This is way over the top. We're just gonna do the sound thing. We're fine.
Yep.
And then he's born, and you put him down, and then you're like, okay, now I need everything. Now you need all of a sudden. Now you're worried about all that.
Yep.
That's how it goes.
All right, toddler.
Yeah.
They will repeat every word you say.
Yes.
So there was one instance in particular. It was early. I had woken up late for work, so I was in a rush. As I was coming downstairs, I stubbed my toe on like one of the kitchen chairs. So I yelled, hit. But just put an S in front of it. Okay. My son heard it. So I get I get a video. Erin sent me a video. Erin, my fiance, sent me a video of Jake hitting his foot on the chair and going,
Was he purposely kicking the chair too?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
He was purposely kicking the chair. And Erin said, "What are you doing?" And he goes, "Oh, I banged my foot." Hit. And then, the word again.
Yeah.
So they will repeat everything that you say. So you have to have a filter on at all times.
There's definitely a time where you realize, so when they're really little and you're driving around with them, like you can still listen to your music, you can still listen to the radio, and then all of a sudden there's one time where you like look up in the mirror and you can see like, okay, now they hear it. Yeah, all right, I gotta change it now. For sure. For me, it was climbing ability.
Oh, okay.
Everyone says, the second they start walking, it's over. And to some degree it is. Your back's really going to hurt because you're chasing them all over the place. But never-ending climbing. Like, when my son recognizes that, okay, we're turning the TV off, we're bringing the toothbrush, it's time for bed. Like, he gets on top of the top of the couch faster than anybody I've ever seen. Like, we're talking X-Men ability.
Yeah.
And then you're like, in this precipitous position trying to pull them off, and so they're going to climb everywhere.
Yeah.
Get the bubble wrap ready.
So a boy.
Yeah.
I'm like in that stage right now.
Okay.
So.
Oh, your sons are a little older than mine, right?
Yeah. So I have a 4-year-old and a 7-year-old.
Okay.
So, boy, right now. It's. I'm trying to think of how to explain it. Don't set his expectations of you too high. Okay. So, like he knew. So, quick sidebar is that.
Quick sidebar. That's the podcast itself is a sidebar, but all right.
So back in high school, I was on a dodgeball team. Like we ended up being like national champions. Like we traveled across the country. You didn't know this? Oh yeah, there's newspaper articles. I'll show you.
Okay.
Like, we went to Las Vegas. It was just like the movie. We played in the World Championship, blah, 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 blah.
What was your dodgeball team name?
Hood 978.
Okay.
Hood.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is the first word I think of when I look at you.
First of all, I didn't make the name, okay? So, Hood 978. Anyways, so he still thinks that, like, at the age of 32 and, heavier, that I can still play at that same level.
You can absorb the balls, but
I could definitely absorb the balls now. But like, I could definitely see the disappointment in his eyes when we were playing, and I wasn't moving as fast or I wasn't throwing as fast. Like, he definitely brought me down a notch.
Yeah.
And I could see the disappointment in his eyes. So with Julian, I don't think he ever did anything athletic in his life. I don't think he really has any big achievements.
Yeah.
You know, I think just with how bad his gambling is, like, the bar will be set as it is. But yeah, don't let him have high expectations for you because you will ruin them.
Trying to explain that to your son, I can only imagine.
There's videos too.
Yeah, for me, wow. We'll have to get that up for the next show, for sure. Yeah, like my son really wants a motorcycle, and my dad has a motorcycle, and like so he sees Grandpa's motorcycle all the time, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm never gonna ride a motorcycle. Sorry, man. Like when you get older, for sure. For me, it's somewhat similar. It's the escalation of aggression. So like, you know, I'm like any good dad, like trying to teach him a proper 3-point stance. Like, all right, this is how you fire off the ball, drive your legs, you know, push. I'm the tackling dummy, and you know, we go through those drills, you know, and that's that. And then all of a sudden he takes it. The next thing I know, I'm just sitting down and he's jumping off of a table on top of me. You know, like it escalates very quickly. And my son actually he chipped his 2 front teeth. But he chipped them on my teeth. Yeah. Like we face planted once and our teeth hit each other. Like I don't even know how I thought we all like 4 teeth were all gone. And like he's still all about it, still going, you know. So and my daughter is, you know, far more mellower. And I'm not trying to generalize boys and girls here, but my understanding is that that's kind of how it goes, you know. So that is that. What is your flex?
My flex is you better have another one. You have to have another one because if that kid grows up by himself, selfish, he's gonna have no morals. Just have another one. You'll do yourself a big favor. Yep, that was my flex. Gotta have 2.
Wow.
Yep.
So after everything we just described, your advice is go through that all again. Oh,
yeah. I mean, it's a painful process. Yeah. You're not going to be too happy about it, but in the long run, you want to.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cluster them. That's mine.
Right.
Yeah, you know, like.
Get going in January.
So my flex, because I know this is near and dear to his heart as it is mine, you're going to have to get over sneaker cleanliness. And it's really attire in general. Like, I can't tell you how many times, like, it takes forever to get everybody ready. You know, obviously, like, I'm the one who I take them to daycare. And you finally get everything ready. And then I pick up my daughter, and then all of a sudden spits up, like, all over you. And all of a sudden, you know, you got to get everything ready again. And, you know, or it's, depending on how bad it is, how quickly you got the paper towel to it, it's like, well, no one talks to me at work anyways. Like, it's all right if I smell a little bad. You know?
You know what's going to be great is now we'll know visually how Julian is doing betting-wise because the clothing that he will have on, the baby will have on. I could just see him, like, doing a video talking about a big heavy mind parlay, and then, like, the next week, you know, baby's in, like, you know, rags or something.
Didn't hit, did it there, Julian?
He has no idea.
He does have no idea.
Yep.
Of course, it goes without saying, Julian, we wish you the best.
Yes, in some twisted way.
Yeah. So hopefully he will be back relatively soon, but not too soon, you know. Enjoy it. Take your time.
He might be back quicker than we expected, though. I need to come in.
Yeah, when he was giving me, you know, what he was thinking, I'm like, all right, take your time, man.
Yeah, right, take your time.
Get some sleep.
But we'll be here.
Not going anywhere. All right. Is that going to do it?
I think so.
Yeah. We were waiting to see if any news broke. But like I said, the only thing that I had saw come through was that Le'Veon Bell is refusing to take drug tests now. So usually that's what an innocent person does.
Oh. What did you think about the apology from Antonio Brown? Do you think it has something behind it? Did you see that?
No. I mean, I think it was some kind of... I don't want to say it was totally planned or anything, but the quickness in which, like, every offensive player on the Patriots liked it, and that became the story. You know, like Edelman, Brady, you know, all these guys are quickly to like it. Like, I kind of wonder if it was one of them was texting him, and they're like, hey, man, just come out and say you're sorry.
Right.
Whether or not it had anything to do with, you know, Gronk seemingly closing the door now. I mean, he's still got, 10 days?
That's over.
But he's just, you know, continuing to build up announcements to then, you know, promote something else.
Because what would be the deadline for him to rejoin the team? Is it the same, the 30th, as Gronk's?
I'm not sure, to be
honest.
honest.
I'm not sure either.
I wouldn't. My understanding, though, is if you're a free agent, like,
come whenever.
You're a free agent, right?
That's true.
But for a guy who was also threatening to, like, sue for guarantees, like, to me, that's probably what's going to be the bigger issue than anything else, you know, as tough as that might be to admit. So we'll see. I don't think anything will come of it, or you know, especially N'Keal Harry's back. They traded for Sanu, who I know is banged up, and the offense still looks pretty bad. But no, I think that was just one of those, like, someone's like, hey, maybe just apologize.
Yeah,
now it gets you know, creates a story again. So.
He'll retract it tomorrow.
I take it back.
By the way, I didn't mean anything I said.
Yeah, I'll sign with the Jets, and then they'll be playing, and then all of a sudden.
Oh boy.
Yeah, no, it's it's one of those things. Like some people need to be in the news, so that is that.
Yep.
All right.
Now we're done.
Yep. Now we're done. Of course, be remiss if we do not remind you that the odds and lines are subject to change. Please see website for actual odds. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and would like some help, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. For Steve Buchanan, for Julian Edlow and mini Julian Edlow for when he does arrive, I'm Alex Jankowski. We'll see you next time.